Today we got another talent tree guide and review for Fantasy Flight Games Star Wars RPG, Force and Destiny core rulebook. We got the Sentinel career and their Shien expert talent tree. The Shien Lightsaber Form, that's what we're talking about. From a lore perspective, Shien is a lightsaber form that focuses on powerful strikes, but they're guided by cleverness and not just blindly slashing away with as much strength and force as possible. Although, if you are stronger, you'll get more benefits out of it. And also, there is a big emphasis on counterattacking your opponent's stuff and dealing with ranged people in general. So that's the form in a nutshell. The two sets of columns, there's no connection in between. So it's not even like you can focus on one and then towards the bottom sidestep into the other and come in it from that direction. No, you have to, it's two separate things, and they kind of focus on two aspects. One is more melee defense in combat, the other is more ranged defense in combat. So that might require some extra planning on your part. Whatever progress you make down one side of the tree isn't going to help you with the other side of the tree. It just depends what you want to focus on. But really, you want the whole tree. Eventually, there's a lot of really great stuff that meshes really well together. Let's focus on melee defense. So we got a couple ranks of parry. Strain yourself to reduce incoming melee damage. Also, we have sidestep. It's one of those, you pay a cost to go into a mode and you're better defensive, in this case, due to melee attacks for a certain time. So you're harder to hit, and also if you do get hit, you can reduce incoming damage, and because you're harder to hit, it's going to naturally sort of be a randomized damage resistance and help you in that way. And you have some toughened, a below average amount of toughen and grit, not that much. We also got a couple ranks of reflect, more ranks than we did with parry. Just one of many ways in which we are much better with ranged defense than melee. And so, strain yourself to resist incoming range damage. Also, though, we have the improved and supreme version, which we had neither of those for parry. Between these two, you have an easier time pulling off reflect if you're not attacking. If you're just sort of focusing on turtling up, being defensive, or just doing anything not attacking, you have an easier time doing reflect more often. Really great if you have just a door opening with a wall of blaster-wielding enemies. Just don't attack and just wait for them to attack so you can reduce it really easily, and then with improved reflect you can counterattack by reflecting blaster bolts back at them. So that's even more of an incentive to turtle up in those instances. And we have a range version of the pay this cost to go into this defensive mode against this type of attack for a time. So you could do both, technically. Every turn, strain yourself to get a second maneuver, or maybe you're a species like Zexto or whatever that already has two maneuvers, and then just go into both modes if you're dealing with two types of enemies. But back to reflect, we have one really great talent, Gem So Deflection. After you reflect, you can, if you want, move after the fact. Get closer to that person so you can more easily hit them with a melee attack on your next turn, if that's what you want to do. Another thing you could do, which is sort of in a similar spirit, but works in a different way, when any attack, and this is ranged or not ranged, misses you, you can, I guess because they're sort of off balance, or use their attack, their miss, the fact that they miss you against them, you can attack that person better. So either you successfully reflect something against an opponent, then you can move closer to them to be more easily hit them with a melee attack, or if they miss entirely with any type of attack, you get a big offensive boost to your attack against them. And also stacking with these things in different ways, we have Saber Throw. So if the person you're attacking on your next turn is far and away, you can get the benefit of Counter-Strike, while also counter-striking by throwing your lightsaber far away. Hopefully you roll well enough to where you can get it to come back, otherwise you're kind of vulnerable, right? Most of your defense based off of having a lightsaber. I suppose you could have two. You might want to have two, just in case. We also have a really great attack. You can basically hit someone so that it's basically like a debuff you add on top of it, so they have a harder time attacking in general after the fact. So if someone is going after someone you need to keep, the door guy is trying to get the door open so you guys can escape the army which is bearing down on you, someone is rushing forward, they're going to go after the door guy, attack them and make them less likely to be able to successfully hit the door guy, or do less damage to the door guy, or whatever, or it just keeps your people and yourself alive better. Really great. But if you want some really consistent offense added onto your character, we have one where you get to use your brawn as part of your damage. So whatever your brawn rating is, you just, with the cost, add some bonus onto that. And you can use it really consistently on a very regular basis. Add some damage with your brawn stats. So you probably want at least a 3 in brawn. Which brings us into builds. How are you going to build your Shien expert? Well, 4 in cunning, obviously. You were a damage dealer. Get that 4 in cunning, obviously. And it's going to help you not just with your attack checks, but also, we get some help with some navigate the criminal underworld kind of stuff, sort of. Very little. But with the high cunning, you're going to be pretty good at that type of role, decently at least. And also, of course, it's hard to argue against a 3 in brawn, having consistently 3 extra damage on your lightsaber checks. And that's on top of being better at hitting someone that misses you from the counter-strike thing. So, yeah, you can put out some really awesome damage. I still think Ataru Striker is probably better overall, most consistently with that. But still, really great, interesting combat tree, and what other builds can we do with this? Maybe a 2 in brawn and go for a 4 cunning, 4 will. Use that to fuel all your active defenses more often. Not a terrible way to go. It's not like you're really hindering your overall damage output. You have a lot of ways of putting out the damage. You'll be fine. Or 4 brawn, 4 cunning as well. A lot of different ways you can take this, as long as you have like at least a 2 in brawn or a 2 in will, just so they're not too awful. Plus, if you're not coming across a lot of lightsaber opponents, then that brawn is going to help more. If you are coming across a lot of lightsaber-wielding opponents, maybe in, say, an Old Republic campaign, that extra brawn isn't going to matter quite as much, at least as far as defenses go. But yeah, I like my 3 in brawn, my 4 cunning, maybe a 3 in will if you can swing it, if you pick a species like that. Alright, I'm done with you.